I'm a subscriber actually to BlockThreat, so I can talk about BlockThreat really quickly. It's one of the newsletters that I subscribe to across the Ethereum ecosystem. BlockThreat is actually my favorite, and I've subscribed to it since my entire time in Ethereum. So shout out Peter, he does amazing work. You've actually probably seen me if you follow me on Twitter, clip some of their articles and say something about the security space, because Peter does such a good job, not just covering the ecosystem when it comes to security within Ethereum. He'll talk about the different security hacks that are happening outside of Ethereum. And he actually does a good job kind of explaining what happened for normal people. I'm not an in-the-weeds security person, and I'm still able to learn so much from the work that Peter does with these newsletters. And it's really difficult to have a newsletter like what he does and keep it alive and going. And it's been going the entire time I've really followed Ethereum. So that's like 4 or 5 years. It looks like he's been doing it for 7 years. So cool. I'd recommend subscribing to the newsletter. You can go to blockthreat.com to subscribe, because it'll really just keep you knowledgeable in everything going on across the ecosystem and just in like tech in general.
100%. I am also a subscriber, and he not only does he just say the news, he gives like a really expert opinion of what you can learn from it. He did a great deep dive into the Litecoin incident. It's not just Ethereum. He did a really nice deep dive into a few things. And I was reading something from this week's. There's a lot of private key incidents, and obviously there's smart contract incidents, but these things are something that are always happening. But here's something you need to pay attention that is emerging as a pattern. If you're out there, you got to double check your Oracle configurations. You got to make sure that you're doing a good signature verification, because there were a lot of these small hacks this week where they just weren't verifying that the signatures were correct. And this is not something that's normal that we've seen week over week. So it's like it's not just like, I feel like Rect is amazing, but they only throw out, hey, here's an exploit, here's what happened. Whereas it's a different format where it's like a weekly newsletter, and he gives this insight of someone who's been watching this for so long and being like, okay, this is new, guys. Like this is something that I don't think the space is prepared for. Look at these small incidents of like 200K that maybe you didn't catch, but it's a different pattern. Be aware. And that's just one example of something you can have when you have someone really deep in the space spending this kind of energy to put out this kind of content. It is a subscription mostly these days, but he does have enough public information that we can get him in the round. But honestly, pay the subscription. It's so worth it.
Like it used to be free for, I guess, up until I think like 6 months ago. And like he's just been providing so much value, and doing something like this, I understand why you might want to switch to a subscription model, and it's so worth it. Like easiest subscription I've ever spent.
People get all hung up about subscriptions, but then you go and spend a nice meal, support these content creators. The subscriptions are worth it. And especially if you are the security lead for your team, if you're not reading BlockThreat every week, then you are not doing your job. This should be mandatory reading for anyone who's in charge of security for a serious protocol. And if you're the CEO of something, make sure that your guys are reading this. People are going to be like, oh my God, yeah, I have a price Oracle. I should check the configuration. Hey, Jimmy, will you just double check this, and look at this? Here's this article. It's just so worth it. And it will save, I'm guarantee if every security engineer read BlockThreat every week, we would be 10x safer in this industry.
Yeah. And even if you're not a security engineer, now with the power of AI, take Peter's post, put it in an LLM and be like, please explain to me simply what I should know this week. And boom, you'll be like really educated on what's happening in the security ecosystem.
Yep. Look, he's only raised $500.
Yeah, that's a shame. I will be personally donating. So, someone donated live. That's super cool. As I clicked load more, it went up, I think, $2. And like we talked about before, those $2 get matched to like potentially thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Do you want to click into his thing? Do you still have it up? How much money does he get for that $2 donation?
Let's check it out. Whoa, that can't be right. Yeah, there we go. It initially said 50,000. That $2.
Yeah, it's loading. It's loading a pretty complicated algorithm. I'm not going to lie. So sometimes there's a little delay.
No worries. But that $2 was probably over $2,500. So shout out whoever just made that donation. Peter is now potentially getting over 2.5K. And he really deserves it because his work is helping keep the ecosystem safe. Well, they all deserve it, but I can just speak personally about how valuable his newsletter has been.